Andvari's curse is part of the Volsunga saga from Norse mythology and is a story that inspired the books and movies Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Let me know in the comments below what you think. There are many branches to this story, and I will begin with the day Odin, the eldest of the gods, Loki, the trickster, and Hoenir, decided to wander in the world of man known as Midgard. During their visit, they sat by a river and watched an otter eating a salmon. Loki threw a rock at the otter and killed it. He smiled and boasted about obtaining 2 animals with only 1 stone. Later that day, the gods came to King Hordmeir's dwelling. Hordmeir was the king of the dwarves. He welcomed the strangers and invited them to stay. Here, the gods met 2 of his sons, Fafnir and Regin. Hordmeir's 3rd son was gone fishing. Loki then bragged about his hunting skills and displayed the otter's hide with arrogant hands. Hordmeir was without words as he slowly approached the skin presented in front of him. He recognized the otter's skin as being the hide of his 3rd son, Otr, who was shape-shifted as an otter. Hordmeir demanded justice. His remaining 2 sons, Fafnir and Regin, seized the gods and tied them to a chair. Loki was sent to gather a ransom equal to the life of Hordmeir's son. The agreement was to stuff the animal's skin with gold and cover every hair of the pelt with more golden treasures. Luckily, Loki knew of a dwarf named Andvari, who had the power to transform himself into a fish and guarded a vast fortune. Loki traveled to a waterfall where he saw the large pike bathing suspiciously. With the help of a magical net, borrowed from the Norse goddess Ran, Loki trapped the fish. Andvari's life was threatened by Loki and forced him to surrender. He sadly revealed his riches but sneakily attempted to conceal his most valued one, a golden magic ring, purified and engraved with a rune of power which had the ability to locate gold. The ring he named Andvaranaut. But Loki the mischievous noted the attempt and took the ring. This caused Andvari to shout and snarl at Loki. With furious tears, Andvari cursed all of the gold, including his precious ring, to bring about death and destruction to whomever possessed it. Loki chose to let Andvari free before returning to Hordmeir to deliver the gold. And so, the curse begins. Hordmeir carefully and meticulously positioned each piece of gold to ensure he would possess the hoard entirely. After witnessing the vast treasure, Fafnir and Regin demanded a portion, but their father denies them their share. Fafnir decides to kill his father and take the ring and all of the gold for himself. He becomes terribly unpleasant and fearful, which causes him to flee deep into the wilds, where he slowly transforms into a dragon to better guard his fortune. The curse persists. Time goes by, and Regin fosters a young man named Sigurd. He tells Sigurd the story of his brother and the treasures he guards. Together, they plan to slay Fafnir the dragon. Sigurd kills Fafnir with a uniquely forged sword and consumes part of the dragon's heart and blood, which gives him the gift of understanding birds. The birds offered Sigurd warning of Regin's corruption by the ring and his plan to have him killed. So, Sigurd decides to behead Regin and take the ring and treasure. The curse persists. He later arrives at a castle surrounded by a wall of flames. He is only able to pass through with his horse Grani, whom only Sigurd can ride. Inside the castle, Sigurd awakens the warrior maiden Brynhilde. He promises to come back for her and to marry her when he is more deserving. He continues on his journey to gain praise, but he is tricked by Queen Grimhild into drinking a potion to make him forget about Brynhilde and marry her daughter Gudrun instead. After Sigurd weds Gudrun, Her brother decides to have Brynhilda as a wife, but he's unable to cross the wall of flames surrounding Brynhilda's castle. Sigurd, who has now forgotten about Brynhilda, transforms into Gunnar and with his horse passes once again through the wall of flames and courts Brynhilda in Gunnar's place. Believing that Sigurd had abandoned her, Brynhilda agrees to marry Gunnar, whom she did not love. When Brynhilda discovers that she had been deceived, she felt angry with Sigurd and heartbroken at the same time, which causes her to plan the murder of Sigurd. Beside Sigurd's lifeless body, Brynhilda takes her own life. Gudrun's brother Gunnar acquires the gold and hides it in a cave. Years later, Andvari discovers the cave and finds his stolen gold, but his ring, Andvaranaut, was nowhere to be found. It's not clear in the many versions of the story who was last to wear the ring, but it is said that Andvari spent the rest of his days searching.